As an Amazon associate, we earn from qualifying purchases. This podcast is supported by its listeners. If you choose to purchase something using links on our website, we may earn a commission. No books were warped, dog-eared, underlined with purple pen, eaten, cursed, cancelled, burned, or otherwise harmed in the making of this podcast. I'm Tom Tolkien, and this is the School Reading List, a podcast that recommends books you'll want your children to read and books you'll wish you'd read as a child. To kick off episode 34 of the School Reading List podcast, let's rip open some book post. Gloam by Jack Mackay. 13-year-old Gwen moves with her family to her late grandmother's house on Gloam Island after her mother's death. When Esme, a new babysitter, arrives, Gwen senses something is wrong. While others are drawn to Esme, Gwen sees a darker side, and as strange events unfold and nightmares take shape, she must confront her fears to protect her family. This unusually gripping story weaves suspense with supernatural elements, exploring themes of grief, trust, and resilience in the face of the unknown. Highly recommended for Upper Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3. There are amphibians everywhere by Britta Teckentrup. This stunningly illustrated non-fiction book introduces 7+-year-olds to the fascinating world of amphibians, from frogs and toads to newts, salamanders, and the lesser-known caecilians. It explores how these creatures live between land and water, how they move, eat, grow, and where they're found across the globe. There's a fun search and find feature woven through each engrossing double-page spread. Part of a series exploring animals in their natural habitat, this gorgeous hardback is highly recommended for Key Stage 2 libraries. The Museum of Shapes by Sven Volker. Alma is the guide at the Museum of Shapes, where young readers explore triangles, circles, hexagons, and more. With clear explanations, playful questions, and interactive tasks, the book invites children to notice shapes in the world and around them, and even use their bodies to explore geometry. Designed with a clean, modern style, it turns early maths into a grand tour. It's smart, inviting, and perfect to read and discuss with inquisitive 3 to 6-year-olds. How to Catch an Idea by Forrest Xiao. A curious girl wants to know where ideas come from, so she goes looking. Along the way, she meets a mathematician, a farmer, and even a stork, each with a surprising answer. Bright, playful illustrations pull readers in, while the story gently opens the door to big thoughts about imagination and creativity. The kind of book that invites questions, the more it's read, the more it reveals. It's ideal for sparking thoughtful chats with 0 to 5-year-olds in nursery and EYFS. Highly recommended. Ooh. The Coming of the Iron Man by Ted Hughes. Ted Hughes' tale introduces the Iron Man, a mysterious metal giant who snacks on farm machinery and causes quite a stir among the locals. Young Hogarth steps in, helping the Iron Man settle in the scrapyard. With gorgeous illustrations from Minnie Gray, this edition makes the classic story accessible for younger readers, and it's perfect to discuss with Key Stage 1 and Key Stage 2 readers. Published by Faber, it celebrates 57 years since the Iron Man first appeared on shelves. It's a charming and immersive reimagining for a new generation. Highly recommended. Ooh. My Brother is a Tiger by Joaquin Camp. Teresa's little brother Thomas suddenly turns into a tiger, claws, stripes, roars and all. life gets tricky with a wild sibling in tow, especially at school and around the neighbourhood. But as Teresa tries to manage the chaos, she also learns to see things a little differently. Packed with humour and lively illustrations, this fun-filled book for 3 to 6-year-olds explores sibling dynamics and the magic of imagination, with a fun twist that's sure to keep young readers grinning. Highly recommended and now available in paperback. Amber Class Making Friends by Enamwoyu Damali and Ruthine Burton. This illustrated first chapter book series for 5+-year-olds invites young readers into Amber Class, where Mrs. Asida leads a lively group of pupils, each with their own passions, be it books, bugs, music or sport. As they tackle everyday ups and downs, the children learn about friendship, confidence and working together. The story celebrates individuality and teamwork in a warm, diverse classroom setting. It's a relatable read for Key Stage 1 independent readers. Lunar Grace, Girl from Outer Space by Julie Sykes. Lunar Grace has just landed on Earth from the planet Starbright, and blending in isn't exactly easy, especially with rainbow hair and telekinetic powers. Her first day at school is a bit of a whirlwind, but as nerves give way to curiosity, Luna starts finding her place. With lively illustrations capturing every emotional twist, this story gently encourages children to celebrate what makes them different. It's a good first chapter book pick for fans of Isadora Moon or Hotel Flamingo. Dream Keepers, Map to Starlight Hollow by Rebecca Lewis Oakes and Anastasia Kanevaluik. In the second Dream Keepers adventure, Paisley and her friends set out to update the map of Moon Wood, but trouble brews as she learns her family might be moving away. As her worries grow, strange shadows tied to the Queen of Nightmares creep into their magical world. Blending fantasy with real-life feelings, this story explores friendship, change and courage. It's a heartfelt, short-chapter page-turner for 6+-year-olds. The Notwitches, Prison Break by Gary Panton. Melinda and Mitch Notwitch are back, this time trying to break into a high-security witch prison by getting themselves arrested. It's a bold plan, and naturally, things don't go quite as expected. Along the way, they meet a bunch of new faces and tangle with some very odd magic. Dottie Sutton's lively illustrations keep the chaos charming. It's a fun and slightly bonkers read for 7 to 11-year-olds. How to Get Magically Popular by Radhika Sanghani. Sabina Patel starts at a new school and finds it hard to fit in. Things change when she realises she can see the future, and her classmates begin seeking out her predictions. As she tries to handle the pressure, the impact of her ability becomes harder to control. The story blends school life with a fantasy twist, while looking at how young people deal with friendship, fitting in, and learning to feel comfortable with who they are. This imaginative and confidence-inspiring story is one 9+-year-olds will find highly relatable. Moonboy by Anna Ciddor. When Charlotte finds a box of keepsakes, she's pulled back to 1969 and into her grandfather Keith's childhood during the Apollo 11 moon landing. Through a series of time slips, she becomes part of his world, discovering a new way to connect with him as he faces dementia in the present. Moving between past and present, Charlotte gently shifts small moments to help her family. Blending history with heart, this cracking sci-fi historical story for 9 to 12-year-olds explores memory, change, and the ties that hold us all together. Wintour's Fate by Brian Dungan. Alex is pulled into the dark, twisting depths of the temporal underworld to rescue Christine, someone she thought was lost to her past. Hunted by relentless acolytes and grappling with powers she barely understands, Alex is forced to decide who she can really trust. As tensions rise and her friends start doubting her choices, the clock is ticking on both her future and the fate of the temporal world. The second book in a sharp, fast-paced trilogy, it's perfect for fans of Artemis Fowl, Alex Rider and Lockwood & Co. Inside by Sally Gales. Naya's been training her whole life to serve the NSDE. Loyalty in, questions out. But when she's sent outside to spy on the so-called enemy, things stop adding up. Meeting Zane and Anise cracks open everything she thought was true. Inside drops readers into a gritty, ever-changing cityscape where trust is slippery and control runs deep. It's a sharp, pacey read for Key Stage 3 children who like their sci-fi with a side of rebellion. Girls of Dark Divine by E.V. Woods. Girls of Dark Divine follows Emberlyn, a ballet dancer cursed to live under the control of a puppet master. As she delves into the secrets of the curse, she risks everything to free herself and her sisters. Dark magic and tangled relationships set the stage for a story about freedom, control, and sacrifice. With its gothic vibes and the driving pressure of performance, it's a distinctively spooky and suspenseful read that will keep 14-plus-year-olds hooked. Highly recommended. Thank you to all the publishers and publicists for sending us books to review here on this podcast and on our website schoolreadinglist.co.uk. Here's our rundown of great new children's books hitting the shelves this September. Old Oak and Little Acorn by Elena Mannion and Erin Brown. The Guardians of Dreamdark by Laini Taylor. Britannica's all-new children's encyclopedia by Christopher Lloyd. History's Most Epic Fails by Athena Kukblenu. Hank Meets Frank by Maudie Powell Tuck and Duncan Beattie. What Feelings Do at Night by Tina Aziewicz. Everybody Has a Fear by Kalika Patama. The Cave, Downwind of the Cafe by Mikey Please. The Search for Our Cosmic Neighbours by Chloe Savage. Whoosh, Adventures with Grandad by Sam Usher. Dance of Resistance, The Josephine Baker Story by Katherine Johnson. The Rebel and the Rose by Catherine Doyle. Thirst by Darren Simpson. The Wizard's Guide to Magical Experiments by Amanda Wood. Role Model by Elle McNichol. Dead Yard, Seeds of Doom by PJ Kilburn. Fold Out and Play Doll's House by Angela P. Arrhenius. Where the Dead Live by Sam Fern. The Fear by Tom Palmer. Talk Like an Aztec by Tegan Evans and Nina Chakrabarti. A Tree is a Time Machine by Rob Sears and Tom Sears. No Escape by M.A. Bennett. By Sea and Sky by Layla Nagy. The Incredible Pop-Up Frog by Ben Hoare and Jasmine Floyd. Fright Club, Let's Boo This by Sibylle Pounder. Letters from the Upside by Katja Balin. Bust or Trust by Small Wardau and Sam Pete. Mythical Tales by Laura Sampson. Champions of the Galaxy by Tola Okogwu. Make Me a Monster by Calin Bayron. And our picture book of the month is Oh Dear Look What I Got by Michael Rosen and Helen Oxenbury. Our non-fiction book of the month is The Incredible Pop-Up Frog by Ben Hoare and Jasmine Floyd, and our fiction book of the month is Everything Amplified by Sarah Lippert and Ziggy Hanauer. Bookty book, let's get reading. If you're a teacher, librarian or avid bookworm who loves children's or YA books and you'd like to review brand new titles for the school reading list, get in touch by email. We'd love to hear from you. The address is reviews@schoolreadinglist.co.uk. Here are some of the standout titles from our latest preview list for the autumn term 2025. Oh Dear Look What I Got by Michael Rosen and Helen Oxenbury. When a boy goes to the shops, whatever he tries to buy is replaced by a living, breathing rhyme. I went to the shop to get me a carrot. Oh dear, they gave me a parrot. A few mix-ups later and he's trailed by a hilarious menagerie of unexpected companions. When the chaos reaches its peak, the shopkeepers swap the animals for the right goods at last. This playful repeat and build story for 3 to 7-year-olds is packed with humour, vibrant artwork and perfect read-aloud moments. It's an instant classic. Highly recommended. Whoosh by Sam Usher. In the final book of Sam Usher's transport-themed series, Boy and Grandad are on a mission: breakfast ice cream. When the shop's empty, they don't give up. They build a balloon-powered bike and head off to Ice Cream Mountain. Along the way, they face flying mishaps and a sprinkle storm. Full of warmth, fun and invention, this adventure celebrates creativity, determination and the delightful bond between a boy and his granddad. It's perfect to read and share with 2 to 7-year-olds. Highly recommended. Sketch by Jacques Goldstein. A boy who sees the world differently grows up in a town that prizes order and sameness. At home and in art class, he's encouraged, but mostly he feels alone. That changes when he starts at a new school and meets others who share his creative spark. Originally published in French, this quietly powerful and emotive picture book for 7 to 10-year-olds follows an early artistic journey, showing how friendship and self-expression can flourish even in places that resist a difference. Highly recommended. I'm Dreaming of a Pink Christmas by Frances Gilbert and George Sweetland. A spirited young girl is on a mission to show that Christmas should be pink, and she's not backing down. From trees to snowflakes, she gives every merry detail a popping makeover, reimagining the season in her favourite fuchsia. George Sweetland's bold illustrations play with contrast, mixing classic reds and greens with bursts of blushing pink. This cheerful story for 3 to 7-year-olds celebrates creativity, confidence and the glee of doing things your own way. It's a fun and funky antidote to the festive season. The Mushroom of Doom by Becky Davis and Thomas Elliott. Mushroom is outraged. Left off the pizza, dunked in milk and chucked in the compost, he's had enough. Determined to get even, he rallies a mushroom army. But revenge is messy and his plan soon goes off the rails. Just when things look truly out of hand, help comes from a surprising place. With plenty of dry humour and lively illustrations, this picture book explores fungal frustration and forgiveness in a format 3 to 6-year-olds will relate to. The History of We by Nicholas Smith. This outstanding and moving picture book traces humanity's roots back to Africa, where fossil evidence points to our earliest ancestors. Through exquisite painted scenes and thought-provoking short verse, it highlights early human achievements, such as art, medicine, travel and farming, while centering black people in the global story of the human race. A visual timeline adds context, connecting ancient history to the present day. This memorable book offers 5 to 8-year-olds an inclusive, visually rich introduction to civilization's beginnings and a shared heritage that unites us all. Highly recommended. The Diary of Whisker Wildflower by Harriet Muncaster. The Diary of Whisker Wildflower follows Whisker, a small whiskling, as she embarks on her first days at Inkcap's Academy. Written in diary form with colourful illustrations, the story delves into her search for friendship and self-expression. As Whisker bonds with Clearbell and Primrose, she learns to balance her creativity with the desire to fit in. All about the ups and downs of friendship and being true to yourself, it's a charming, relatable read for 7 to 9-year-olds who've enjoyed Isadora Moon. You and Me and the Peanut Butter Beast by Andy Griffiths, illustrated by Bill Hope. Andy Griffiths drops readers straight into the action in this second You and Me book. A hole, a cave and a strange creature, it all kicks off fast. Told as a past adventure, the story's packed with energy and a sense of mischief. Bill Hope's comic-style art keeps things playful and punchy, perfect for kids who love graphic novels. Fans of the Treehouse or Land of Lost Things series will feel right at home with the familiar rocket-paced and immersive tone. Highly recommended for less confident readers in Key Stage 2. Dracula and Daughters by Emma Carroll. In Thamestown, cousins Mina, Buffy and Bella discover they're descended from Dracula and decide to open a medical practice treating vampires rather than hunting them. Their first case involves the mysterious death of a local woman, a family heirloom book containing medical secrets, and persistent vampire myths in a town ruled by superstition. Mixing historical detail, friendship dynamics and challenges to traditional gender expectations, the story offers a fresh spin on familiar vampire narratives. Highly recommended for 9 to 11-year-olds. The Girl Who Raced the World by Nat Harrison. In 1872, Maggie Appleton's world is turned upside down when her mother's death leads her to a cryptic letter and an enigmatic stranger named Passepartout. Soon she's racing around the world with Mr. Phileas Fogg in a high-stakes wager, battling bank robbers, uncovering secrets and facing betrayal. As Maggie digs deeper, she must figure out who to trust and where she really belongs. The Girl Who Raced the World blends timeless storytelling with surprise-laden and whirlwind adventure. Role Model by L. McNichol. 13-year-old Ariel Sharp is thrust into the spotlight when her mum becomes the nation's top political figure. Suddenly expected to speak for others like her, Ariel, an autistic teenager, must deal with shifting friendships, intense media attention, and the pressure to define herself. Compelling, original, and heartfelt, this middle-grade story is a sharp insight into identity, visibility, and holding on to who you are, even if it feels like the whole world is watching. The Odyssey of Phoebe Quilliam by Annalise Gray. Greek myth-loving Phoebe is thrown into an adventure after she accidentally damages a mysterious painting tied to her grandmother. Along the way, she crosses paths with a boy whose father once built ships for Odysseus. Family, memory and loss thread through the tale, which mixes fantasy with classical twists and looks at how illness shapes the people we care about. Thoughtful but never heavy-handed, if you're teaching the ancient Greeks this term in Key Stage 2, this is an ideal class reader. The Last Day of October by Phil Hicks. Set on a shadowy Halloween night in Oregon, this gripping and genuinely scary ghost story for 9+-year-olds follows 3 friends who ditch trick-or-treating to investigate the ruins of burned-down McBride House, rumoured to be haunted by its long-dead residents. What starts as a thrill quickly turns unsettling as they uncover secrets buried for a century. This memorable middle-grade story mixes eerie suspense with classic haunted house tropes, all brought to life by Oriel Vidal's moody, atmospheric illustrations. It's perfect for reading to Key Stage 2 classes in the run-up to Halloween. Everything Amplified by Sarah Lippett and Ziggy Hanauer. 15-year-old Nell is used to fading into the background, especially with her twin brother Ludo soaking up the spotlight. But when she ends up stepping into his place in a local band, music gives her a way to push back, speak up and figure out who she really is. With writing by Ziggy Hanauer and illustrations by Sarah Lippett, this highly relatable coming-of-age story blends sibling drama, identity and angst with genuine heart. Exploring contemporary social media, ambitions, dreams and the importance of music as a soundtrack to life, Everything Amplified is a powerful graphic novel that teens will seek out. Every Key Stage 4 school library should stock it. Bear by Kiri Lightfoot. Jasper Robinson Woods is juggling too much. His pet is dying, home life is tense, and a terrifying nightmare keeps returning. The only place he finds calm is up a tree outside his window. But when the nightmare crosses into real life, Jasper has no choice but to face it head on. Bear is Kiri Lightfoot's first young adult novel, shaped by her work with teens. Funny, moving and unforgettable, it won the 2024 Storylines Tessa Duda Award and it's highly recommended for readers aged 13 to 16. Weird Wood by Curtis Jobling. Teenager Kiki Harper returns to Merryweather by Sea to find her house taken over by a stranger named Faye. The locals adore her, and oddly, so does Kiki's family. At the same time, rumours about the Twigman, a ghostly figure said to haunt the nearby woods, begin to surface. As Kiki digs deeper, she starts to see links between the old stories and the strange things happening around her. It's a sharp, eerie and memorable tale about identity, trust and the power of myths. Owl King by Bex Hogan. Ilset and Lila are drawn into the fairy court where the Owl King is choosing a new bride. While Lila slips under his spell, Ilset hunts for a stolen talisman that could tip the balance of power. Their journey takes them through perilous realms steeped in fairy lore, old magic and treacherous bargains. Owl King is a brilliantly written and highly immersive standalone young adult fantasy set in the world of Nettle, weaving folklore and courtly intrigue into a tale of survival and shifting loyalties. It's perfect for Key Stage 3 book clubs. Not Going to Plan by Tia Fisher. Marnie's just been expelled. Zed's all about grades. They meet through tutoring. Hardly a natural match, but a fragile friendship begins to form. Then Marnie's world shifts again, an unplanned pregnancy after non-consensual sex. Told in alternating voices, the story doesn't shy away from the hard stuff, consent, trust, and what comes next. The visual verse format adds urgency and space to breathe, making it a powerful, relatable read for teens facing big questions. Highly recommended for Key Stage 4. Here's a selection of exciting new book tasters sent to us by new and self-published children's authors this month.
My novel, The Collaborator, is specifically written for Key Stage 4 and contains no bad language. The Collaborator is a dystopian alternative world story of young adults rising up against a tyrant, not realizing that there is a reason why he's a tyrant and why he is passing such harsh laws. The rebels commit acts of defiance and vandalism. The ruler is fully aware of their actions, but strangely does nothing to stop them, and even destroys evidence of their crimes. On a superficial level, this is an action story with themes of trust, compassion, and betrayal. The underlying story tells of the lengths that people go to in order to protect the ones they love, the guilt they feel over the lies they are forced to tell, and the misplaced beliefs that drives their actions. The book is self-published and is available through Amazon.
Hi, my name is Clodagh Ryan, and I'm excited to introduce Sally the Spider, a joyful picture book adventure for children aged 3 to 7. One day, while spinning her web, Sally had the most curious thought. I have 8 tiny feet. Wouldn't 8 tiny shoes be really sweet? And just like that, she sets off into the forest to find them. Along the way, she meets friendly creatures like Freddy the Frog, Rosie Robin, Mr. Mole, and Molly Mouse, each offering clues, kindness, and a bit of fun. With rhythm and rhyme, Sally the Spider is a gentle tale of adventure, friendship, and finding joy in the little things, like the perfect pair of shoes, times 4. Sally the Spider is available now on Amazon. It is the perfect read for bedtime, story time, or little dreamers who love a fun journey with a big-hearted character.
Anna Denton and the Water of Life, the first of a 2-part fantasy book set in a contemporary world on the brink of climate catastrophe. It is aimed at 9 to 12-year-old age range, with a focus on dual heritage protagonists. The below. As fires rage and waters rise across the globe, the future has been forgotten, lost to the endless pursuit of more. The event forces an unimaginable worldwide crisis. Children have disappeared everywhere. Only one remains, Anna Denton. As Anna Denton searches to find her place in a burning world, she is thrust into an epic adventure to find and bring back the children of Earth before it is too late. Available from www.jhbpress.co.uk and ebook from Amazon, Google, and Kobo.
If you'd like to get in touch and leave a recorded shout-out about your upcoming self-published children's book, have a look at our podcast webpage for more details. Which books will appeal to children as much or more than screens and social media? Children and teenagers spend more hours on screens than ever before. Smartphones, video platforms, and social media apps are designed to capture attention and keep it. Research shows that these platforms use rapid-fire content and reward loops to deliver quick hits of dopamine, the brain chemical linked to pleasure and motivation. For many young people, this sense of reward can feel immediate and personal. A scroll or a click gives instant feedback, whether through a new clip, a notification, or a like. This matters for learning because the dopamine system is also involved in decision-making, self-control, and memory. When a child's brain is repeatedly trained to seek fast bursts of stimulation, longer tasks, such as reading, can feel harder to focus on. Studies connect heavy use of short-form video and social media with lower attention spans, weaker impulse control, and reduced working memory. Other research finds that when adults or carers read to children from books, brain activity is richer in areas tied to social skills and understanding, compared with screen-based storytelling. High levels of early screen exposure are also linked to slower language development and lower literacy. Researchers studying young children find links between extended screen time and delayed communication and emotional regulation. These findings are important for parents and schools that want to foster literacy skills. Reading is not only about decoding words, but also about developing empathy, understanding different viewpoints, and practicing sustained attention. The challenge is clear. If screens appeal so strongly because they activate reward systems in the brain, what can books offer that has a similar pull? One answer lies in interaction. Screens give children choices, control, and a sense of achievement. Books can provide these too, but the formats need to be varied and engaging. Interactive fiction is one option. Choose your own adventure titles, where readers make decisions that shape the story, mirror some of the decision-making control that games and apps give. Branching plots can generate curiosity, anticipation, and the same desire to see what happens next that children experience when clicking through a social feed. Books that invite readers to solve puzzles or complete challenges as part of the story tap into the problem-solving instincts. Each solved puzzle brings a sense of progress, similar to completing a level in a game. Another strand is philosophical or reflective books that prompt children to think about choices, dilemmas, and perspectives. Approaches used in philosophy for children, such as those promoted by Peter Worley, encourage young readers to stop and consider alternative viewpoints. A book that asks a question or presents a scenario for debate makes the reader an active participant rather than a passive observer. That kind of intellectual engagement can spark the same satisfaction that children get from exploring content online that teaches them something new or confirms a belief. Imaginative interaction is another route. Some books invite readers to take part physically through prompts to shake the page, tap, or turn back. Hervé Toulet's Press Here is a well-known example that turns the act of page-turning into a playful activity. Christina Kubel's This Book is Too Quiet builds sound into the reading by asking the child to add the noises themselves. This kind of interaction borrows the responsive element of a touchscreen but keeps it grounded in print. Recent examples show the range of possibilities. Superquesters, for example, mixes story with STEM problem-solving. Sam Gayton's Press Start to Play builds on gaming culture to frame the narrative. Bust or Trust, a kid's mystery book by Small Wardour, combines fact and investigation, asking readers to weigh evidence. Tom Percival's This Way Up blends storytelling with interactive design. Formats that fold out or can be built, such as Ingela P. Arrhenius's Fold Out and Play Doll's House or Paul Farrell's Build a Castle, add a construction element that appeals to hands-on learners. These examples show that books can draw on the same instincts that make screens engaging: control, achievement, discovery, and interaction. The link to empathy is central too. Screens can feed ambition and self-worth by presenting images of success or belonging. Books offer a quieter but longer-lasting form of this by allowing readers to step inside the life of a character, see through another perspective, and practice emotional responses in a safe setting. Research into reading and empathy suggests that narrative reading can strengthen the ability to understand and relate to others. For children and teenagers navigating social pressures, that can be as powerful as the approval loops on social platforms. There's also the question of how reading connects to problem-solving and resilience. Stories often present challenges, mistakes, and consequences. Following a character who works through difficulty allows young readers to rehearse responses to real-life challenges. That mirrors the way some young people use online content to learn how to handle situations or gain clarity on issues that cause worry. Books can meet the same need, but with more depth and context. Teachers and parents often ask how to make books feel as rewarding as screens. The answer is not to compete on speed or volume, but to build on what books do uniquely well. Physical interaction, branching stories, puzzles, and reflective prompts can deliver engagement without the constant demands for novelty. Story-based interaction can spark the same dopamine-driven sense of control and achievement that screens offer, while supporting literacy, empathy, and critical thinking. Publishing trends suggest that more titles are being developed with these ideas in mind. Educational publishers are investing in interactive series that blend story with subject-based learning. Independent creators are exploring physical formats that combine reading with construction or play. At the same time, schools are using philosophy-based texts and discussion-led reading to support classroom dialogue. The aim is not to replace digital media, but to provide children with options that feel rewarding in their own right. The wider context matters too. Children are drawn to screens partly because peers are there. Social connection is a strong motivator, and books cannot replicate the constant peer presence of social platforms. But shared reading experiences, whether in class groups, book clubs, or at home, can provide a social frame for reading. Talking about a story, predicting outcomes, or solving puzzles together makes reading communal rather than solitary. That social aspect may be one way to make books feel more relevant against the pull of digital platforms. The key is to recognise that books and screens are not equal competitors. Each has different strengths. Screens provide rapid, tailored rewards and constant feedback. Books can offer slower but deeper engagement with space for empathy, problem-solving and reflection. By redesigning reading experiences that give children some control, interaction and challenge, books can trigger many of the same brain systems that screens use, while also supporting skills that digital media does not nurture. For educators and parents, that balance may be the most practical route to sustaining reading in the digital age. If you'd like to get in touch, use the hashtag SRLpodcast on Twitter or drop us a line using the contact form or messaging button on our website schoolreadinglist.co.uk. And all the books lived happily ever after. The end.